I curse this thing every day because it's my leash now. I use it, but it's a weapon.
People check that an average of 352 times a day. And that's kids and adults, so it's averaged together. We probably check it less, they check it more. I do think change is happening faster than we're able to accommodate it, and the projections are that in the next 10 to 15 years, there will be more change than has happened in the last 400 years. So it's accelerating. It's happening even faster. And that's why I'm so excited about you joining Merit Street Media, because you focus on jobs, real people doing real things, building real stuff, fixing real things that are really broken. To me, crafts, trades, being able to actually do things in life with your hands and all is becoming a lost art. How many jobs are open right now in so many different trades? Thousands and thousands of jobs with nobody prepared or willing to take those jobs.
Millions. It's even worse than the numbers, because the numbers are just a reflection of something. The numbers are a symptom of something. So according to the BLS, it's nearly 10 million open positions.
Tell us what BLS is.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Okay, well, everybody
you want
know.
Facts and figures, right? They've got them. And back in 2008, there were 2.3 million open jobs in this country, most of which didn't require a four-year degree. And I know that because in 2008, my show, Dirty Jobs, was at the top of the cable rankings.
It was brilliant, and it was at the top of the cable rating.
Well, I ripped you off a little bit thematically. You were talking to real people with real problems in a really candid, unscripted way. Dirty Jobs did the same thing. The pitch for that show was, send me to a town you can't find on a map, to meet people you didn't know existed, doing jobs you didn't know needed to get done, and spend a day with them and do the work with them. That formula led to a foundation called Microworks. We launched on Labor Day of 2008 because one of the many things I learned in the course of shooting that show was the degree to which people had become disconnected from the fundamental things in our country, where our food comes from, where our energy comes from, the very definition of a good job, and whatever notion of prosperity you might harbor. The Wall Street Journal had an article a few months ago that said 64% of Americans today affirmatively believe the American dream is dead or no longer applicable to them. On Dirty Jobs, the people we profiled were not in that 64%. They were well-balanced. They were surprisingly joyful. They found real meaning in their work. And so ever since, I've been of an opinion that we can learn a great deal from that group of people. So what my foundation tries to do is celebrate the character in that cohort and at the same time make a more persuasive case for the millions of jobs that exist that don't require a four-year degree. So the skills gap in 2008 was 2.3 million open positions. Today it's about 10 million. So clearly I'm making things worse, right?
Yeah.
But we have to shine a light on the opportunities that exist. And then we have to make a persuasive case for those opportunities. And then we have to challenge, in my view, parents and guidance counselors to stop with the narrative that the best path for the most people is the most expensive path. There's nothing wrong with a four-year degree. I've got one. It served me well. But in 1984, when the dust settled, 2 years of community college, 2 years at the university, $12,400. Today, same schools, same course load, $95,000. Mm-hmm. So never in the history of Western civilization has anything become more expensive more quickly than this four-year degree. And yet, the pressure we've put on kids to get one, cost be damned, is scandalous. And the result of that push, combined, I think, with our harebrained decision to pull shop class out of high school, has resulted in a widening skills gap, $1.7 trillion of student loans that are currently on the books, an entire generation of kids who's so confused by this thing, it's almost overwhelming.
And it's so interesting, your foundation, because you're giving scholarships but you're really giving people a life. I've written a book called We've Got Issues. I set forth 10 principles that I think are essential to a healthy society. And one of those is that you have to define and develop for yourself consequential knowledge. Something that you know, something that you do where you can't be replaced by noon the next day. And that's what you're giving these people.
Well, thank you. And that level of certainty that is an essential part of happiness has been compromised by this thing, right? Because this thing is filled with uncertainty. This thing just reminds people again and again of how uncertain and how ephemeral everything is. Throw onto that any number of headlines about, are the robots coming? Is the tech going to make me obsolete? Is AI going to make me irrelevant? Those are fair questions, but the plumber is not in any specific danger of any of these existential threats. And the question isn't just, how much can you make today as a plumber? The answer, 6 figures easy. Or how many plumbers could be hired right now? The answer is hundreds of thousands, easily. The real question today is, how long do you want to wait for a plumber when you need one?
Yeah.
And we have to ask ourselves that, because right now you're talking 3-4 days, and that's no way to run a great country.
No, it's not. And the thing that's important about that from a psychological point of view is when you develop that as a plumber or as a HVAC guy or someone that does something that has a degree of urgency about it, where you have a skill that, hey, I need it and I need it now, then you have a sense of self-worth, and you've observed yourself go out and do something that matters to society. You've observed yourself overcome an obstacle, solve a problem, fix an issue. And when we observe ourselves do this, then we attribute to ourselves the skill, talent, and ability to do that. And when we do, we stand taller, we walk better, and we know, hey, I have something that the world is willing to trade either money, goods, services, respect, whatever, and that's different than what we're preparing these kids for now. You go to college and pay a fortune for a degree from, say, an elite university, and when you get to that elite university, they teach you that what we should be working towards is equality of outcome. Really? Then why am I paying you $250,000 for an elite education?
No matter what the outcome is.
If I can sit at home in a beanbag eating Cheetos while this guy's out busting his tail, then why do I need an elite education? It seems to me to be a contradiction in logic. These are people that you're giving a kickstart to in their lives that can say, I did that today and I saw myself do it, so I know I can.
Thanks. One slight tweak to it. What we're doing is not giving them a life, we're throwing them a lifeline. And full disclosure, not everyone grabs it.
Of course not, but it's a hand up, not a hand out. You're giving them a chance, and that's all you can do.
That's all you can do. Our scholarship program is called Work Ethic Scholarships, in part because I couldn't find anybody else who was putting it front and center. We have academic scholarships, and we have athletic scholarships, and we have artistic scholarships. But who's rewarding the kid who shows up early and stays late? Who's rewarding the kid who cheerfully volunteers for every crappy task there is, right? There has to be a way to elevate perfect attendance, for instance, against a perfect GPA, which is really more important, right? What do we really want to reward, and which is more indicative of work ethic? So my foundation turned a corner a month or two ago. I've been trying to get a work ethic curriculum into high schools, right? I hear from a lot of parents who are very uneasy about ESG and DEI and CRT and the army of angry acronyms, right, that seems to have dominated public education. So our work ethic curriculum is anathema to those things. It's a simple curriculum that's designed to stimulate conversations about merit. This curriculum is now in Western High in Clark County, Nevada. So 750 kids are going to go through this program. And when they graduate, the top of that class, the top 50 to 100, will all get a full ride scholarship to any trade school in the country to pursue any trade. So for the first time, and I'm excited to talk about it in a place called Merit, for the first time, we've been able to attach about $5 million to work ethic. And we are going to track those kids. We're going to see how they perform, and then we're going to tell their stories. And if you'll have me back, I'll tell them to your audience right here.
Oh, I would love to do that. Tell everyone the exact name and where to find your foundation.
The Microworks Foundation is available through this cursed thing or any other internet hookup at microworks.org. Every year we give away a couple $1 million in work ethic scholarships to help train the next generation of skilled tradespeople. Go get some. It's there. You got to jump through some hoops, but the money is real.